You're on mute.
The best way to open the show, not being able to talk. Welcome to episode 11 of the trainX.ai podcast. Did I look really convincing though? I feel like I looked really convincing just then.
No, you look, you was having an in-depth conversation. It was dope. I was like, yeah, I was vibing. I was like, oh, and I think I was like, I think I could have unmuted you. I could have, couldn't I?
Yeah, you can unmute me.
Yeah.
My bad, y'all. But welcome. It's episode 11. As you can tell, I haven't had all my coffee yet. I literally was chugging coffee right before. That's why I had muted myself real quick. But yes, welcome, man. How you doing, Mac, man? I know we kind of talk a little bit before the podcast starts, but just to officially say hey. How's it
Hey,
going?
what's up? Yeah, what's popping? Yeah, everything is good, man. I'm glad to be here again with you, Jessica. We been a little busy the last few weeks here, so glad to catch up and talk through some stuff that's going on in the whole AI space, man.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this. I feel like we almost don't have enough conversations about this right now just because stuff is going so quickly. But you were mentioning the Google Gen AI accelerator, which I hadn't even heard about yet. So I want to hear about that. And I've been dying to talk about this XAI Grok thing that's going on. I think a lot of people heard Elon he's basically suing OpenAI. Well, he's suing the creator, the co-founder, for deviating from the mission of the original mission of the organization. And yet I can't help but think it's a little bit interesting how he's going about this whole Grok AI situation at the same time. So I don't know. We might have some other topics to kind of throw in there, but those were like two of the big ones that we wanted to talk about for today.
Yeah. So let's get into the Google thing. So yeah, I was just kind of looking at this at on TechCrunch. Like I don't know. Side note, real quick, is TechCrunch where everybody still goes? That's where I go for my stuff. Is everybody going here, or are people going to Hacker News, or where are you going, Jessica, to get your news?
Where do I go? People post stuff for me in Discord actually, because we have a channel in my Discord. So I just kind of respond to stuff from there. And then I'm on LinkedIn a lot. So I see a lot of stuff popping up on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I feel like I could be better about actually going out and seeking news, but it just comes to my inbox daily, I feel like.
Yeah, no fact. So, side note, sorry, I just had to ask that because I feel like TechCrunch is like, I don't know, I just go there by habit. It's kind of like it's the first place I kind of go when I wake up in the morning. But by the way, TechCrunch doesn't sponsor our podcast.
Not
But
hashtag not sponsored, but hey, if you want to, no, you know what? I've been doing really good with Apple News. It's kind of a combination of everything though. That pops up on my iPad, on my computer, everything. So that's where a lot of the headlines I've been seeing, that's where I'm getting them from.
Got you. Yeah, I gotta get. I mean, obviously every Apple device has it on there, and they want you to use it. I just haven't really got into it. But anyway, so I just came across came across me when I was reading TechCrunch, and I thought it was interesting because really what's happening here is Google.org, which is their charitable wing of Google, really have decided that they wanted to help fund nonprofits that were developing products in the generative AI space. And I'm not sure like why they decided to do this. I mean, they mention in here is basically nonprofits are underutilizing AI, and I think they wanted to be a catalyst for it. But you know, I guess I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about like the nonprofit space. Now, some of the ones that they mention in here is interesting. Um, so there's one because I guess all the companies have been picked. So maybe I'm just late to the whole game here. But I guess this is more of like announcement that this is happening. But there, I guess there was some companies that actually went in and applied to be part of this 6-week accelerator. So first thing is 6 weeks, which is interesting, right? Me and you are part of the MP program. That's 6 weeks, and we're doing no code, low code. So it made me feel like, they obviously gonna have to use something like Vertex or something like that. That's like
Of
that's real streamlined,
course,
something
of
streamlined.
course. They are definitely getting them on the platform and getting them. I mean, I don't think you've gotten a chance to dance with for real, but
Yeah.
that platform is a beast, honestly. Like w- even faster than no code in a lot of situations. So I yeah, 6 weeks is kind of short, but realistically, from what I've seen from the platform, especially for Gen AI, and if they have Google coaches with them, they're
Yep.
gonna be able to do like some phenomenal things within that amount of time, honestly, which is crazy to say.
I guess that's what comes down to where I was getting at is that it launches a $20 million generative AI accelerator program. So I don't know where the 20 million is going to go. I'd be interesting to know since it's a 6-week program, and maybe maybe they're gonna have this fun, this money sitting there for years and years to come, where there's gonna be multiple companies that join this. But I didn't know. I guess the 20 million. This anyway. So it says the program is to be funded by 20 million in grants and include 21 nonprofits to start. So maybe, they plan to have, hundreds of these companies, nonprofits go through, but 20 million is a lot of dough for basically, it sounds like kind of an MVP type of deal. But whatever, it's Google. They can do whatever they want with their money. Um, but you're right. You get access to technical training, workshops, mentors. You get an AI coach to help you, which I think is pretty dope. Um, One of the companies that they talked about here, which I thought the idea, I don't know how to say the name of the company, is Tarjimly, aims to use AI to translate languages for refugees. Refugees. So which I think is pretty dope, because I can understand if you're a border patrol officer, trying to maintain control at the border, and you have somebody coming in with like a language you don't know. It's probably pretty hard to communicate with them. So having something like this that would translate languages between humans seems to be pretty cool. But again, I would think that there's already apps that do this. So that's just the pessimistic guy in me, but I'm sure there has to be something else to this as well.
Honestly,
Um,
maybe they may do it, but maybe not well, because I know like voice is a little bit different, of course, but maybe not, because now everything's multimodal. All the Gen AI stuff is multimodal, and recently I've just been talking to people who would say like if they have an accent, even if they have an accent, not even a very thick accent, trying to speak and get the AI model to actually translate properly, even the just like plain English that you're already speaking, is it's not really working very well. So
that's true.
I wouldn't be surprised if this actually kind of helps. I like the idea that it is a nonprofit that is specifically already maybe doing work in that space to be actually trying to bring this into the market versus, just tech companies like trying to
Yeah.
do this, because then that's when you get like the lack of diversity makes stuff not as useful for everyone.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean that is true, and I guess the reason, I guess they give a little bit of, now that I'm kind of reading through this a little bit deeper, is that so it looks like this is really driven by a survey that was done. It says 73% of nonprofits believe AI innovation aligns with their missions, and 75% believe AI makes their lives easier, particularly in areas of donor categorization, routine back office tasks, and mission driven initiatives. I think every startup that basically came through the programs that me and you work on, they all talked about they want to have some type of generative model. So I don't think that's necessarily specific to or this is unique to the nonprofit space. I think every industry believes that generative AI is going to be a game changer for their business model. But yeah, I get it. Nonprofits, they're doing great work. Why not support them? I just thought this was an interesting thing that they're doing. So I just wanted to share that one. So that was
Yeah.
the first one that I wanted to share, and then I'll let you go. We will talk about the Grok. I had one more too that I'll come that will I want to talk.
That we
This is
can.
where Amazon doubles down on Anthropic completing its
Anthropic,
plan.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it completed its plan $4 billion investment, like $4 billion.
4 billion. So Amazon invested 4 billion in Anthropic.
Yeah,
That's crazy. I was
it's
gonna
good.
say though, even with that nonprofit stuff too, like realistically, because I mean we have a nonprofit, but I don't think we live the same like nonprofit life that a lot of people do, in the sense of like, if I think about Girl Development, for example, originally one of the I mean, you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of staff, there's a lot of things that
Yep.
you're overburdened a lot of times. And one of the things that I always wanted to use, now we have Gen AI, but before I was very interested in natural language processing, because we have a very particular way we like to create courses to make sure that they're approachable and beginner friendly and all these other kind of things. And it's not
Yep.
something you could really do at scale before, where it would be like, if you, Mac, came in and said, hey, I'm going to write a course for y'all, I would still have to go in. Somebody would have to go in and actually manually review your course and actually give you feedback to say, hey, maybe let's use some more, different terms, not get too technical, right? I would have to do like individual feedback on every single course that was coming in, which basically became like,
A
it's a
bottleneck.
bottleneck at the end of the
Mhm.
day. So then Gen AI comes along, and now it's like, oh wait, we could do that. But I think it was interesting they said like donor categorization, for example, because that's like a big one too. So I don't know. I want to see where that's going. But I'm definitely going to be looking into that program and sharing it with some folks as well. So I'm glad you brought that one up.
For sure. So let's get into XAI Grok. Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't even know what this is. Okay, so first of all, for anybody that wasn't aware, um, recently it was announced that Elon Musk was suing uh OpenAI because he believes that, they're going against their initial the initial charter that they were founded on. And so basically he's saying that they were not supposed to keep their code private, and that is a problem for him. So that was like the first thing. That was like a few weeks ago, which to me, I was like, of course I can get with that, right? Because they were always called Open AI. And one of the reasons that I always followed Open AI, honestly, was because of that mission, because I've been following Open AI for years. Then of course, for most people, there's been different people that have given them funding over the years, but then recently with Microsoft, doing a huge investment, and now ChatGPT being a product. Yeah, so this has been something that he kind of basically brought to light, and saying that he doesn't agree with this. So I thought that was fine. But then he turned around and they launched XAI, Grok, which
Mhm.
is their own AI model. Actually, we'll just here, I'm going to do this real quick. Present. Let's go. There we go. Okay, so XAI has announced Grok. They actually announced this back in November. Um, and this is an AI model. So it is, a generative model, basically chat based, and that's kind of cool. Honestly, for a hot second, and we were getting into this a little bit back, for a hot second, I was interested in seeing what this was about. Then I realized that when you go and look into trying to get access to the model, then you're kind of like paywalled. So as of right now, they're like, oh, hey, if you want to be a part of the early preview, then you have to have X Premium Plus subscription in order to, get further access into everything that is going on. So that is where, like, my spidey senses start tingling a little bit, because I'm kind of like, how, I mean, is it open or is it not? Like, and I get it if they want their product that is coming on, that they have, using this model. If you want to have people pay for the product, okay. But how are you, like, I'm just confused. How are you complaining about open and stuff not being open, but then you're like, hey, so here's our thing that's better, but also by like indirectly, you still have to have some type of subscription in order to fully be able to take advantage of what it is, or I don't know. So it's very interesting to me right now, where
Yeah.
he's going with this.
Well, I mean, I think I think he is looking at this obviously as a way to um, revive Twitter, right? Or X, right? So I think I don't know. I think I know that it's I don't believe I'm saying this, but I actually think that this is a good idea. Because I think that yes, I know he's basically a hypocrite, but I think this is a good idea for 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 Twitter. I keep calling it Twitter, but you know what I mean, X. Because I think there needs to be, I'm hoping that this Grok will become an underpinning for X and make X something different than what it is today, so that he can actually bring people back to X. Because I think I think he's realizing that he screwed up X. How can I save this whole thing? Can I provide more value to those people who got premium subscriptions to X? And hopefully he'll be able to use this to kind of hopefully build some type of like experience that we just haven't even thought about this yet. So I'm wishing the best for him. I just wish that I could play with it. I don't want to pay the $166. So I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, I think I was very excited for a hot second. And then when I read the part that said that the model is trained on X data, Twitter data, whatever you want to call it, that made me completely change my mind, if I'm being honest, because I don't like Twitter. I don't know. Twitter has evolved over the years, and maybe it was always like this, but it's almost like people just love to argue and like be at odds with each other in that space. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to figure out a world where I want anything to do with a Gen AI model that that is like underpinned by the most toxic platform that I personally try to avoid. So that part is interesting to me. I mean, obviously, of course, like X is super popular and a lot of people are on there. I
Mhm.
have I have deviated away from it over the years just because it's like people always arguing, fighting, talking about stuff that don't even make no sense. And I'm just like, how, I don't know. So there, I have a little bit of hesitation on that side, but um for the record, yes, there is a GitHub repository for Grok 1. There is a sample code here, and then they have the information for the model weights as well, and that is also shared through Hugging Face. So I might play around with with the model itself and see how much I could get running, but I don't. It's like you can't even see how this is being used in the Grok AI tool that they're building right now because it's paywalled off, and yeah, I'm not about to pay them. At least not now. Now, OpenAI, they got my money. Microsoft got my money. Even Google can get my money, but I don't know about this one. So we'll see. But I just think it's so interesting. I like how he spins marketing. It's like Jedi
Well,
mind tricks.
yeah, I think I mean I think he's he's good at that stuff. I think he's good at making he's like a Trump, right? He's good at riling everybody up and getting them all frustrated, and then the people who are on the side with him, they seem to buy his
Yeah,
stuff
like
or
people who
patronize his
love
product.
Elon really love
Yeah,
Elon,
yeah, yeah.
regardless.
Yeah, yeah, that's not a if you look at Trump, right? I mean, there's people that really hate him, and there's people that really loves him, and the people who love him, he gets energy from that and power, and that's great. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. These guys, they don't have everything figured out, but they have a lot more money than me and you. So, I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, maybe
That's my thing. I like you watch him and he's like, how's he going to do this one? And he comes up with something. So
yeah,
it's a lesson in that.
man, I feel like it's almost like you play to your base. So whatever your base is, like a little bit off subject here. It's like with us, right? It's like we're like there's so many things that we could be doing for black and brown folks in tech, but we are focused on develop. I think we at first we were kind of like we love everybody type of deal, but I think we kind of like have definitely took the turn and was like we're just focused really primarily on developers, and for them that's what they do, and that seems to be working for them. But back to the whole deal, I just want to play with it and see how sarcastic it could be. So maybe
Yeah.
I will. Maybe I'll go month to month. Maybe I'll get a $16 and play with it and see what it can do for me. I don't know.
I think
I-
I'm gonna approach it from the GitHub repo angle and see what happens from there.
Yeah, I think what's going to need those, there's another layer of software that needs to come here. Like, how we have integration software that allows you to integrate with different systems and things of that nature. But I feel like there's another layer that needs to come. And maybe there's already something there open source, but something that actually now you send your phrases to it, and then it figures out the best generative AI to send it to, or it sends it to
Mm.
all and it comes back and it kind of rates on on which one gives you the best answer and delivers that to you. You know what I mean? Because there's just like literally
Like
there's
if I go on Hugging Face right now, it's so many models. It's so many models.
yeah. Like like how do you figure out which one to use, which one's going to give you the best result without testing? So there's just going to be some level of some software there for just doing that. It sounds like a great startup idea. So anybody out there listening, let me know.
Yeah, man. So it's very interesting. I don't know. I do love this space though. And at the end of the day, more people working on the technologies, more people doing research, more open research, the better. If I would love to see them making sure that they are publishing their research and keeping to this quote unquote open model, as they said. Because at the end of the day, yeah, that helps out everyone. But I don't know. I like what Microsoft presented back in, I want to say it was in the fall. It might have been, it had to be late last year. Um, where they did the state of Gen AI, I think. And when they were talking about it, they were basically just kind of recommendations on what really makes sense if you want to do some type of problem in the Gen AI space. And so their recommendation, right, was like the companies who have the capacity to build these large language models, really having those as a base and kind of training off of that. I think the more kind of options you have, the better, because realistically, again, me as a person, a single person is not going to be able to go and generate these models when companies have like giant data centers across the world that they can do it in.
Mhm.
But we don't want to get we don't want to get shelled out of the process. So I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. No, this is dope. And I gotta get on the Hugging Face bandwagon. I'm not there yet. I gotta get there. Um
I,
let's
I just highlighted under natural language processing, just highlighted text generation,
Mhm.
70,995 models. Text to text generation, 25,779 models. And then you'll see the popular ones too. So I don't know. It's pretty cool. And I know you mentioned Amazon because Anthropic has their models. You are starting to see some of the bigger companies sharing their models across platform or making their models available across other platforms, instead of just being like, oh no, if you're on this platform, you can only use our models.
Right. Yeah, I think that's good because I mean that's where the power comes in is being able to use these models cross platform because I mean they're definitely capable of doing it. It's just a matter of the cloud providers or the entity allowing that to happen, or
Yeah.
for there's more standard interfaces for being able to access it. All right, so let's talk about Anthropic real quick and
Okay.
kind of round out our talk here today. So they have, let me see, I'm going to do a little presenting here. I'll just share screen here. Okay. So they double down on their investment on Anthropic. And Anthropic, I think I'm saying her name right, is basically there are some founders who left OpenAI and started uh Anthropic. Am I saying it right? Anthropic.
I say Anthropic. I don't
And
know. I haven't heard it.
Yeah, Anthropic. Oh, yeah, that's about right. Anthropic. And and their whole thing was that they wanted to make sure they were focusing a lot on responsible AI, right? So, and they kind of felt that OpenAI is kind of losing its way. So Amazon kind of jumped on the bandwagon and was like, "Hey, we're going to invest billions of dollars to you." Um, and they did their initial investment of $1.25 billion in September,
Right.
and then they had up until the end of the first quarter to decide whether they want to increase that to 4 billion, and they went ahead and did the maximum of 4 billion because they could have did another billion. They could have did a quarter of a billion. They could have did whatever they want, but they maxed it out to 4 billion, which tells me that tell me two things. Because obviously part of this deal, they have to use they have to continue using AWS as for compute power. So that was one play because that's the same play that kind of Microsoft did as well with OpenAI. And it kind of tells me that like Microsoft, AWS needs Anthropic. Um because because if they had everything they needed from an AI space, I don't think they would be putting the money down. So I think they really need their IP, their manpower to help, like, you know, I don't know, get them on par. I haven't really paid attention to Amazon's AI stuff, and maybe that's one of the reasons why they're investing in Anthropic because nobody's talking about it. So this maybe puts them into play. So I think it's very interesting. I think it's a power move for AWS.
Yeah, because like you said, I think we had this conversation briefly, or at least it came up where it was like, okay, Google definitely didn't they didn't come out as like quote unquote the perceived forerunner at the beginning, especially with the whole chat GPT thing. But Google they've been in the research space. Literally everything we are doing and like everything that's going on in the LLM space right now is because of pivotal research that came out of Google, out of their research teams. So at the end of the day, like it looks like they're more so trying to drive adoption to their platform. And so you can kind of see that obviously they have the chat GPT like market share at this point, the popularity of the people. But Amazon, yeah, Amazon is funny because AWS, like I never worked for a company that didn't use AWS, but like I wasn't thinking about using AWS for machine learning just because like we were talking about when you start wanting to do some custom training and things like that, I'm like, that's not the business that they're in. At least from the outside looking in, it just really doesn't seem like it. So it's like, why would I pick AWS over Google or Microsoft, knowing, what their underlying models are like and knowing how much they're investing in that research there. So I hope this helps AWS out. They do have like a lot of the developers on their platform as far as different apps and stuff like that. So I feel like that's a benefit for them. But they don't want people to start shifting and kind of leaving their platform behind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious. I'm happy to see that this is happening because I do like AWS. I'd love to have a strong AI platform on here as well. So No, it's good. This is a good conversation. So let's hit our shameless plugs real quick. For me, this we're in full conference mode. We have about a little bit over a month to go before the conference is here. So I'm spending a lot of my time now just getting people uh, excited, going through little road shows. I was at the Apple Developer Academy here in Detroit yesterday talking about the conference. So that is really, for me, all I really care about right now. It's May 11th is where we're focused on.
Yes. We have, obviously we're in full conference mode, so that's what I'm thinking about as well. I'm excited to start getting people just kind of back in person, and not in the winter time. I'm on day 80. Today is going to be day 88 of my 365 days of code. So it's so
Yay.
funny because I have been, it's turning into much more of a very like reflective journey. And at some point I'm going to talk about just kind of like my machine learning journey too, because folks that have been following me like on streams and stuff over the last couple of years know like I have been putting in work to like learn, build out my skill set and things, but that's something that a lot of people don't see on the surface level. So I think it's interesting just because I've always been about like, hey, I'm gonna tell you, but I'm gonna show you as well, so you can understand it's not magic. Like you just got to put in the work for the things that you want to do. So I think we'll start to see like tangibly some of my goals like coming to reality, but also I literally have like a full journey of like hundreds of live streams at this point over the past 2 years. So now some of my streams are more just like, let me talk about where I'm at. Let me talk about, my goals and how I'm thinking about this process. So yes, yes, yes.
Good.
We are out here.
We out here.
We are out here.
Well, this has been a great chat about AI. I really enjoyed talking through these companies because sometimes you just need to like open up the articles, kind of read through them. We just don't have time anymore just to read through all the information and really digest it properly. So I thought it was good for us just to take time to go do that. So I can't
Yeah.
wait till we talk again.
Awesome. All right. So you all can follow us on youtube.com/@ trainX.ai. And we also are at hackingwiththehomies. Are we .org? Why do I
Dot
always?
org. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, hackingwiththehomies.org. If you want to find out more about the conference, get your tickets. We'll be in Detroit May 11th. And we'll see you all for the next episode.
Take care.